Have you ever wondered what carries the blueprint of life inside every living cell? It's something so tiny yet so powerful. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. The famous double helix holds the instruction that shape who we are, from our eye color to our cells function. In this video, we will dive into the fascinating structure of DNA, its elegant spiral design, its building blocks, and how it stores life's most essential information. Let's unlock the secrets of the molecule of life. DNA has a unique structure that allows it to be the hereditary molecule and allows to store the genetic instruction which can be carried forwarded generation after generation. Then the question arises where we can found the DNA. We can found the DNA in a living cell, specifically inside the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, we can see the structure of chromosome that you can see in the left hand side. Inside that, the DNA are coiled. Rosalind Franklin was the first person who studied the DNA. She took a extracrystallographic study that can depict the structure of DNA. Her study was used by James Watson and Francis Crick, who make the double helix structure and demonstrated the three-dimensional model of the DNA, for which they received Nobel Prize in 1953. Here is a knowledge check question for you. You can find the answer and mention it in the comment box. Let's talk about the characteristics of DNA. The full form is deoxyribonucleic acid and it is made up of nucleotide monomers. The DNA consists of two chains, or we can call the helix, which runs in the opposite direction. Each nucleotide consists of sugar molecule, phosphate group and nitrogen containing base. Let's look at the structure of the nucleotide. Here you can see that the orange box is the pentose sugar. And in the DNA, deoxyribose pentose sugar is present, which has 5 carbon molecules. The green color circle is the phosphate group, for which the DNA helix are negatively charged. And the blue rectangular box represents the nitrogenous base, about which we will discuss in the next. So, there are two types of nitrogenous bases. One is pyrimidine and another is purine. In pyrimidine, there are two types of bases. Cytosine, that means the C, and thymine, that means the T. And in purine, adenine, that means A, and guanine, that means G is present. One purine binds with another pyrimidine to make the double helix to bind together. Adenine binds with the thymine with 2 hydrogen bond, and cytosine bonds with the guanine. That means A makes bond with T and G makes bond with C. And what bond they make? They make hydrogen bond. Here you can see that how the nucleotide make bond and how they run together. You can see that in this left hand side picture, this is the first carbon and here is the fifth carbon will be present. This is first, second, third, fourth and fifth carbon. With the fifth carbon, the portion is open, and with the fourth carbon, the phosphate group binds. With the third carbon, the next phosphate group joins, and that's how the 5' to 3' chains form. And in the opposite side, the 5' will be here and 3' opening will be this side. Here you can also see that cytosine makes 3 hydrogenous bond and adenine makes 2 hydrogenous bond with T. Now let's practice what can be the complementary strand of the DNA. Let's suppose ATGGACGTTC is a strand. So the question is, what is the complementary strand of this DNA? As we have seen that adenine will bind with thymine and vice versa, and guanine will bind with C or vice versa. So here the complementary strand sequence will be, for A it will be T, then A, C, C, T, G, C, A, G. So this is the complementary strand for this DNA. Here is another knowledge check question for you. You can find the answer and mention it in the comment box. Let's move on. The sequence or the order of the nucleotides decide what trait they will follow. For example, if a particular sequence is responsible for the curly brown hair, and if only one nitrogenous base will change or one specific change will happen, that will be change the whole trait. Here you can see that GTCATT is responsible for curly brown hair, but in the change of the second last T into the A makes it a straight black hair trait. So the sequence is totally responsible for the traits. Now, what is a sequence? Here you can see one example of the sequences. The DNA sequence is a read which can be described as 3 letters or the triplets, which are again called the codons, and that can be made by specific amino acids, and these amino acids make some proteins which involves in the formation of a particular trait. And here you can see this is the chart for genetic code, and here you can see with A, G, C, U is present because from the DNA RNA is formed, and in RNA instead of thymine uracil is present, and that helps in the process of translation from where the DNA via the RNA makes the protein which helps in the determination of the traits. The function of the DNA implies the carrying of genetic information from one generation to the another generation, and it can also store genetic information. Here is another knowledge check question for you. You can check the answer and write down in the comment box. Now, the last but not least, what are the genes? Genes are particular segment of DNA which is responsible some particular character or some particular trait. Genes are made up of many codons, just like sentences make up paragraphs and paragraphs make up chapters in a book. So that's all for this video. I hope you understood. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe Bioscope for more such videos.